Hi, I'm Scott. I'm going to show you how I replace the rudder cams on a Hobie Cat sailboat. First of all, I bought a kit that comes with the 2 cams and the 2 pins. On mine, I had a roll pin through the hole holding that cam on, so I had to drill that out. It looked like this, and that's a permanent pin, so I had to drill that out. Took me a few minutes to drill that out. Had to change bits a couple of times just to expand it, so I didn't want to hurt the casting. And then I bought a kit that comes with both cams and the new pin, which has screws in it. So then you'll be able to replace these at any point just with a screwdriver. Let's get started. I already did this one. See the spring loaded. The spring situation is in here, and there's a plunger on the top, and that's what puts the pressure on the cam to make it lock out. One thing I do before I take it all apart, I note which one's on the port side, which one's on the starboard side, so that way I put them back in the same spot that they were. I'll usually take a little grease and put inside there a little bit in the hole, and I also grease up the spring and plunger. One thing the grease does is it helps hold the plunger in place a little bit, and that makes it a little bit easier. And another trick that I do is I use the rudder pin. This is the pin that holds it to the transom of the boat, and I will put it on the end of the spring, which is an easy way to get it into the hole that's there in the back. You can see that hole right there. That's where I'm going. I'll slide that up there. Get my finger in there just a little bit. That takes it through. Right. So the pin comes in handy for that. And next you've got the little plastic screw. This is what holds it and also adjusts the tension on the spring. And that tension is going to be how hard it is to lock out. You want a nice wide blade on your screwdriver, because this is it's a really wide slot, and if you use a small one you might break this out, and you don't want to break that because then you're going to have to replace it. The kit doesn't come with that. You'd have to probably buy that separately. So one little trick I do is I use my finger to balance it, put it on the end, I slide that down in there like that until I get it lined up with the hole, and just careful here. Wiggle it around a little bit to get it just right. And then when you feel it lock into the threads, you can start to give it a couple of turns there. And just when you start to move the threads just a little bit, you can't really see that very good. When you start to move the threads just a little bit, okay, you'll feel that it's threading in there nice and straight. You want to be sure that, get a better angle at this. You want to be sure that you're not cross-threading that pin, right? So let's see if I can get you a good angle here. And just slide that. And once you know you're not cross-threading that, it makes it a lot easier to just give it a few turns down. By this point, the plunger's pushing out because of the spring. I went a little too far. I'm going to back that all the way back to where the little clunky trying to do this on camera. And now I got a little more room to get that in there. And now I'm going to orient the cam the way that it comes off, which is like this. I know that because I took pictures before I started just to be sure I didn't get off track there. This is a sleeve and you have a screw. One thing I do like to do is I've got the blue Loctite. The blue is not permanent. It just adds a little extra so that that won't, I just put a little dab on the end of that. Just a little security so that the screw doesn't pop out of there very easy. It's putting a little pressure on there. Having to push on the spring a little to get that sleeve through there. Nope. There it is. What I was doing is pushing down on the cam to push that plunger down where the spring is a little bit, just so that it would line up. Screws started nice and straight. You don't want to crank this down hard. You just want to give it snug. And the blue Loctite you can kind of trust is going to give it a little extra to hold. And now this is adjustable based on how tight you make this little adjuster screw here, right? So right now it moves fairly easy, right? And then the more I tighten that, the stiffer that's going to be. And that's what's going to make the rudder kick up. But if you're too loose, your rudder will kick up just from the pressure of the water. Too tight, and you might run aground and it not kick up and break the rudder. So you have to probably play with the tensions a little bit. Once I install it, I'll put some pressure to pop them up. If it's too easy, I'll tighten these just a little bit until I get that just right. But that is pretty much it. Now we got 2 new cams, we're ready to go. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer any questions that you have, and thanks for watching.